Sexy People Podcast. I'm Dan Frigolette. I'm here with Mrs. Robinson, my guest. Thank you for being here.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited.
You were just I don't want to deprive people of this. You were just doing like facial exercises pre-interview. Do you do a lot of do you do this red leather, yellow leather, this kind of do you know these?
I do know what you're talking about. I do it a little bit differently. My daughter's actually a professional singer, so I do a lot of like
Just like and weird face exercises.
Yeah.
I think we've all been there where like we don't know how the day's going, and then we wake up and we're like, my face doesn't want to smile today, and you're already out in public, and you're like, well, that's what we're gonna do now.
Right.
Can I ask you? Okay, so I want to start here. How long have you been a dirty slut?
Professionally or just in general?
Well, however you want to answer.
Yeah, so I was a hoe in high school, a pretty big hoe.
You were a hoe in preschool?
High school. Oh my gosh.
School.
Yeah, no, I didn't get to be a hoe until high school. I didn't lose my virginity until I was like 15. And then I just embraced it. And it's funny now that I do porn. I'm like, I've been training my whole life for this. So yeah, I was a pretty big hoe. And I didn't like back then how it wasn't okay for women, for girls. And I mean, it was for me, but I found it annoying that I could get a bad reputation because I like to have sex. But, then I lived a pretty prim and proper life, kind of coupled with not so. I'm really like an oxymoron of strangeness. And I don't even know how to answer that. But professionally, I've been a hoe for 3.5 years.
Yeah, okay. I just like having these awful sound bites that we can use for something.
Oh, I've got them for you. You have no idea. I don't know if you saw my Barstool Sports podcast, but that sound bite has made the rounds.
Yeah. Okay. So you were just in Hustler magazine. Explain that experience to me. It's a written interview. From the standpoint of like how great that is, how good that feels from the standpoint of like what Hustler is to the industry. Start there, and then I have a follow up.
Yeah. So when I got involved in the industry, it started off with an OnlyFans page, and I hadn't expected the page to do so well, and I hadn't anticipated going into mainstream porn, and I was wrong about both of those, and I've got a pretty strong social media presence, even though Instagram takes down my accounts. They keep taking me down. They took down
how many are you up to?
Well, the accounts, 12. Yeah. 12 and 13 I'm on now. Yeah, they hate me. I'm face banned. I have to like use a filter sometimes. It's just been terrible. But they took down a filter sometimes, or I put a mask on.
Banned.
I'm face banned, IP banned. I have phones everywhere because I just have to keep buying new phones. SIM cards don't work. They've got my Wi-Fi banned. I have VPNs. They took down a 2 million follower account and a 345,000 account. And those were my babies. And so now I'm at like 30,000 followers. I've lost brand deals. I've lost my clout. And it's kind of like, I can't believe how much I depend on that stuff, but I do. And so that's kind of been shitty. Oh, can I swear?
We're talking about porn. Please swear.
Okay. All right, cool. But yeah, so I mentioned the social media because Missy Martinez, who wrote the article for Hustler, is somebody I've been following, and she's just such a badass. And she actually interviewed me around Christmas time. What do porn stars want for Christmas? And I did a little article there. I don't know if there was a picture in it or not. But then for this article, it was a really big deal because it was kind of a full circle thing, pulling in the top, some of the top performers in OnlyFans. And so it was kind of an honor. I remember Hustler when I was younger. And, when guys had that, it was a big deal. That, I'm showing my age. I'm 52. And Hustler's always been a big deal. I know the whole Larry Flint story. So when they chose me for it, I was like, holy shit. And that's what keeps happening, Dan. When these things happen to me, I'm in shock and I just can't believe it. Like I was nominated for 2 awards this year, AVN Hottest Milf of the Year and XBiz Best Milf Social Media Star.
Congrats.
Yeah, no, I mean, thank you. I didn't win, and I shouldn't have won. My friend Alexis Fox won one of them, and I think Cherie DeVille won the other, and they should have. They're like such badasses. But like, I never brag about that stuff. I'm just continuously in shock about it. I'm like, what? Like, I just can't believe it. So with
Yeah.
Hustler, I was like, this is so cool. And they sent me an issue of it, and they followed me on social media, and they actually just messaged me on Instagram about something. And I was like, what is this? Like, what is happening?
Yeah.
How did this come to life? So thank you. Yeah, it was really cool.
And those numbers, it mentioned the numbers, and it mentions that you're the top, what is it, 0.1% of
Yeah.
OnlyFans. What's the word I want?
0.01% creator. Yeah, you know
Creator.
what?
Yeah, yeah.
To be fair, those percentages really don't matter anymore. They mattered in the beginning when we were all around COVID time, when everyone was just making insane, silly money. And the percentage was showing your fan count. A percentage of your fan was your fan count, and the other percentage was how much money you were making.
Right.
And then what happened was there were these girls who had pages, and they started selling. You know, when you're on OnlyFans and you see ads for other girls on
Yes.
someone's page.
Yes.
So, I mean, we all do that. It's, I do it to give them a solid, and
Right.
I don't
Well,
charge what these other girls charge.
and the reason why, so we could talk about this forever, but the reason why it's frustrating for your side and then viewer side is that, like, so for your side it's that OnlyFans is not helping you get any more subscribers. They're not helping you market. There's no way to pay money even to like market within the site. So, and then as a viewer, a lot of times when I go to a page for the first time and I subscribe for the first time, if the first like 20 photos aren't the person, I actually don't even know necessarily who I subscribe to. So it's a
Right.
frustrating, weird, I don't want to say loophole. It's just a weird process that's been created out of necessity.
Yes,
Um,
and but to piggyback on that, the girls were taking payment via OnlyFans tips, which
yeah.
was falsely pumping up their revenue, even though it wasn't their revenue. They were selling ad space, so the
Oh.
percentage system isn't real anymore. And I don't even it fluctuates, but I don't even look at it anymore because it doesn't matter. The metrics on it are they're pointless. So it doesn't
How,
even really matter. But
so how do you stay consistent? Are you said that during the pandemic the money was crazy, and that tracks. I don't know. Do you think it was just boredom and being home, or do you think it was like the marketing itself? Why was everybody making such crazy money, and how much has it declined?
sure, yeah. So I think COVID had a lot to do with it because there were so many people. I can't remember what the number was. 100 million people joined OnlyFans as a creator. And
Creators, right?
so there were a lot more people doing it. So you have, if each of those people tells one friend they're joining, and they tell another friend, and it was a lot of word of mouth, and then using the Telegram app to um, buy promo from people, and the money was great, and people were home. I mean, there were a lot of quarantines, and the fan base isn't just United States, it's across the world. And so I have a lot of fans from the UK, Germany, and they were on lockdown a little more than us. I have a lot of Australian fans. They were really on
Right.
lockdown. So
Like
since the
Canada
pandemic,
almost Canada almost never left lockdown. In Australia, like same thing.
yes,
It just kept extending.
right. My Canadian audience is crazy. I've got a ton of guys from Canada, but the more the restrictions were lifted, the less money we were making,
Are
and
pe-
the
are people
girls.
jerking off less? Why is it getting less?
I think people are outside more. They're still jerking off, but the thing is, there's a difference between Pornhub and OnlyFans. The
Yeah.
guys that don't understand OnlyFans, they use Pornhub because to them, if they want to jerk off, they go to Pornhub, they find what they're looking for, they jerk off their cock, and they go. OnlyFans is, I know so much about so many of these guys. I've developed personal friendships with them online, of course, only, but
Yeah.
it's a more personalized experience. And I think people were really lonely during the pandemic, and it really gave them a way to have conversations and connect with other people. And they don't need that as much now because now they're out and about a little more. They're still jerking off. I know that for sure. But
Yeah.
yeah.
So it really was it was a culmination of factors, and I also think it was a very good period of time for people actually paying for their porn. I think we used to really have to focus on this podcast in particular on like telling people to pay for their porn. It's like you like somebody in the industry, you got to pay for your stuff, and so OnlyFans finally like put us all in a position where we know that if we give money somewhere, it's going directly to the person we want to get it. To an extent, or at least we think that, right?
Right.
Not to speak to whatever the huge cuts are or whatever. But
yeah.
And that's a better feeling.
Yeah.
Let's speak to the idea that like porn for a long time was about anonymity. Porn for a long time was about like trying to protect yourself. Porn for a long time was about like not letting people know where you lived or like what your family structure was, and how OnlyFans and camming and and things before that have sort of shifted that idea. How do you feel as a performer? I mean, even with social media, with the amount a fan can intrude or understand your life.
Yeah. So I am. I live in Western Pennsylvania. I live near Pittsburgh, and I don't live in LA. If I lived in LA, it would be a totally different story. Everybody there is doing something and nobody cares. I live in Western PA. I have to tell you this story too that happened, and this will really explain to you just how different it is to live in Western Pennsylvania than it is to live in New York or LA. People here don't get it. I live in a suburb, very Stepford wifey. I'm a single mom. I have a teenager, and then I have a 26-year-old daughter. Her name's Amber Blake. She also has an OnlyFans, but that's for another moment here. But
okay.
Yeah. So
are you pumping it? I feel like I like this mother-daughter pump.
Yeah, well, we have very strict boundaries with it, and we do promote each other, but never anything like, look at my daughter's pussy. Like, I'm not going to do that. But look, my daughter's has her OnlyFans, 50% off today, and I will do that. But and it's so weird because I was like quintessential soccer mom here, and chaperone mom and PTA mom. I was the president of the PTA, and not anymore. But anyway, so here I am very, very private. Are there people who know my real name and know that I'm Mrs. Robinson? Absolutely. But I don't publicize it. Everything I do when I do a podcast, when everything is Mrs. Robinson, and it's for my protection, my safety, my kids' safety, and it's illegal to dox someone. So 2 weeks ago, I went to a school board meeting as a parent of the community, and I spoke at the meeting as a parent of the community. And when I was sitting down, we've got a lot of like political shit going on here, and everywhere else. And I didn't say much of anything.
To put background in case we do reach a large audience outside of like understanding what maybe like Pittsburgh and Western PA is. Western PA. And I'm going to say the things so that and you could disagree, but this is my perspective. Western PA, Pittsburgh, Philadelphia even too is Eastern PA. There's a lot of cities in the East Coast that have a character where all that we really ever had in those cities was like sports and like being American. And so the numbers of people that feel a certain way about being American and feel a certain way about all the isms is a higher percentage in these places. And Western PA in particular. I had a show halfway through Pennsylvania in a place called Altoona, and
I'm familiar with it. Yeah,
it was always a problem. Like, and I've been everywhere in the world, like Alaska and back, and out. Every time we did a show in Altoona, Pennsylvania, something racist, sexist, hateful would happen. Mm-hmm. And so that's the kind of place we're talking about. That's my opinion.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right. Now, the community that I'm in, we've got a very small subset of people who are very vocal, but they're a smaller group, but they're very vocal. And then the group that I'm with, we're a larger group and we're kinder. And I spoke about something. It was what I spoke about was irrelevant. And I spoke, and as I was sitting down, one of the Karens in the back said, "Thanks, Mrs. Robinson."
Hilarious.
And I said, "That's porn mom to you, baby. And you might want to check your husband's DMs," and winked at her. And I sat
Yeah.
down. And I thought that was it. Well, the next day, my friend called me and said, "So and so doxed you." That bitch
Doxed? What's doxed? What is that?
doxing. It's particularly for online digital people who need to maintain their privacy. It's when you give somebody's full name, their stage name, where they're from, their address, whatever it might be, this information. And this dumb bitch, she's a teacher, she doxed me. My friend's like, "She doxed you." I'm like, "Are you kidding me?" Like, she preaches, "Oh, it's all about the kids." No, it's not. If it were all about the kids, you would care about my child and not put my safety at risk just because you don't like what I said at a school board meeting.
Right.
So I had to call my attorney. I'm like, "We need to send a cease and desist." And then, and you are going to love this, Karen, she's like the biggest Karen. She took it even further, Dan.
Right.
And she said on this post, and Mrs. Robinson, she was basically saying all of the role play porn that I've done, teacher student, stepson porn, basically saying she admits to doing, teacher porn with all her former students. And I was like, she thinks that's real life. Holy shit.
Right.
Like, this woman's sex life must be really bad, because
right.
and it caused a lot of problems. And I've been given the opportunity. My attorney's like, "This is a slam dunk for you. She will lose her job." Like, what she did,
Right.
she accused me of doing something. I was a teacher in my 20s in this community.
Yeah.
So she portrayed it as if I was out having sex with a bunch of students that I used to have in this community.
Right.
And I'm like, "Are you kidding me? Like, it's porn, you dummy. Like,
Well,
it's
and her
not real
implication
life."
is also that you're like doing something illegal, being with people
Yeah.
that are underage.
No,
right?
that not necessarily, just that morally, she's the moral police. Just that morally, I have had sex with former students in the community, which puts my character into question. And I might do porn, but my character, I feel really good about it. I'm a kind person. I help people. I'm a good mom. I'm a good friend. I'm a good daughter. Like, I'm okay with me when I put my head down at night. And for her to say that, it kind of tarnished me as a teacher, the years I spent teaching that were really important to me. And I thought, how dare you? And my attorney said, "Do you want to go?" Like, that's defamation. It is slam dunk. And I was like, I don't know if I have it in me right now. If she says anything else, I'm going for her. But so that's, the privacy thing is important to me. And I do my best to just be Mrs. Robinson online. And the social media aspect, I do share my dog a lot because Rudy is my best friend. And then my daughter's on there too, in a different kind of, she doesn't do mainstream or anything. And, but we'll post pictures at Christmas time on Instagram, things like that.
As a family, not in this persona.
Exactly. And we just did. Yeah, exactly. And I have a teenager. My teenager's 16 years old. And when I started doing OnlyFans, I'm very open as a parent. And I sat down with my kid and had a very frank conversation, because the type of parent I am, I don't want to do anything that's going to negatively impact my kid. And so, I mean, of course, parents always embarrass their kids, but this is like next level. And we had a conversation. I won't bore you with the details, but in the end, my kid said, "Why do you care what people think, Mom? Get that bag." And I was like,
"That's
what?
fantastic. What a response."
And you know what? My kid hasn't been bullied. And it's just been fine. My kid doesn't care at all. And people always say, hold on, let me just say one more thing. I'm sorry. People always say, "She's wrong. Her kid cares. She just doesn't know. Her kid's lying to her." And I'm like, my kid's really not lying to me. We are that open in our house that we talk about everything. So
those are other people talking from their insecurities. That's all
exactly.
that is. Okay, wait. So many things.
I know. This is so awesome. You're the best, Dan. Okay.
I'm just letting you. It's such a dense thing you just dropped on me. Okay, so to start with.
Okay.
So, Did you and your daughter start OnlyFans at the same time, or are you the inspiration for her to do it, or vice versa?
Neither. What happened was she is a professional singer. She was a lead vocalist on a European cruise line, and COVID hit. And so she went back to New York City where she had been living, and then realized like New York was a little terrifying there for a while. I mean, we walked
Yeah.
through Times Square and I'm like, this is nuts. I felt like I was in a Will Smith movie, except I didn't get slapped. But she was like, I just need to come back to Western PA. And she came back, and I had already been doing what I was doing. And then one day she's like, hey, mom. And she named her 4 friends. We're all going to start an OnlyFans. And I kind of like looked up at the sky, at the universe, whatever's out there. I'm like, really? Really? You get putting my kid in porn now? Okay, motherfucker. Like, really?
So she didn't know.
No, she knew I was doing it, but
She did.
yeah, oh yeah, I'm very open. She knew I was doing it, but she was like, I just wanted to let you know my friends and I are doing it.
Yeah.
Are you okay with that? And I was like, I did try to talk her out of it. I'm like, you are a lot younger than me, but these millennials, they don't care. They don't care what people think.
Yes.
And
Well, okay. So here, I tried to explain this to a friend of mine who is my age, but exhibits behavior and thoughts that are of a much older person. And
Yeah.
I was trying to explain that, like, the OnlyFans thing, because I have an OnlyFans, and mine is not to the level of most people's or professionalism. It's just,
Yeah.
it's number one, to quench certain appetites, and I like when I film it and do things.
Yeah.
And then 2, it's like, who am I to interview people if I wouldn't put myself in that same light? But I was trying to explain to my friend that, like, everybody younger than me is already sending nudes to everyone. So, like, this idea that, like, when we first started sending nudes, my generation, and I'm a little bit younger than you, the big thing was like never have your face in it and never have like things where people could tell who you are and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And then it's gotten looser and looser and looser over 25 years. And now straight up people like, even in my dating life now, like I'll get nudes before I've even met a person. That's where we're at as a society. So this thing where like the fear of like having a nude photo show up somewhere later in life, like you couldn't be president if someone's seen your cock.
Right.
I don't think it's gonna hold up.
No.
And so the stakes are lower.
Yes.
But I will say, okay, so I did a Western PA thing, and I went to go do a church show where everyone knew I was doing a G-rated show for children, and I got there. And they said, "Hey, it's come to our attention that you're a porn star," and it had this vibe. It felt like your PTA meeting, and this is before I had an OnlyFans, before even OnlyFans existed. And I felt when he said that to me, this weird feeling that like people are talking about it, like this weird like rumor mill, like high school chatty, like awful vibe. And I was like, oh, that's not true at all. And then he wasn't sufficed, the pastor. He wasn't sufficed. So I had to keep explaining, and I was like, well, I interview porn stars under the understanding that we're trying to come to a mutual place of understanding and appreciation and acceptance. Right. And he was like, okay, let me go talk to the congregation. And then he comes back and he goes, we don't want you to do the show, but we'll pay you. And I was like, I was just happy I didn't have to do the performance because it's already hard to perform for kids. But I was appalled that this was a thing.
Yeah, it is appalling. It is. It's completely appalling.
So what happened now with your relationships in the BTA? Like, how many people in that room do you think, after she said Mrs. Robinson, were finding out for the first time?
None.
So everybody in there knew. So she was just using it as a way to discredit you as someone who she already knows. She's already decided that no matter what your opinion is, she's going to disagree with it. That's the person she is.
Yes. And she even said on the public comment thing online, I bet you're really proud of your decision to leave teaching for this morally superior lifestyle.
Yeah.
And I was like, I worked in software and advertising. I lived in Don Draper land. That was my last job I had when I retired. And I worked in advertising. I had worked my ass off to climb the corporate career ladder. And it's hard to be a woman in that industry. And I had done a really good job of garnering respect and working really hard. And that industry was a lot rougher than porn is. Like, that was rough. That's, it was the Don Drapers of the world that were my clients. And it was like, I've never thought that before. Some of the smartest people I've met are porn stars. Have you
And
ever talked to Cherie?
savvy.
Yeah, Cherie
Yeah.
DeVille. Fucking brilliant.
Yeah.
Fucking brilliant. Yeah.
And the more the industry changes, the more it's highlighting those people and those skills. I've been holding this opinion that like people that are like tech savvy, and maybe even, and this is an extreme opinion, maybe even people that are like on the spectrum are more like probably capable of building humongous followings, people that can figure out the internet, figure out algorithms and do those sorts of things.
Yes.
I think those people are, and those are not people that we've sexualized in the past.
That's
know?
right. That's me. I used every skill I had in corporate America and applied it to this, because I've had people say to me, I don't know if you've ever heard of Holly Hotwife. Her husband, Vince, she and Vince are friends of mine. And Vince, when I first met them, we were like, where did she come from? And I was like, I just knew how to brand myself, and I knew how to target, and I know demographics, and I know metrics and data. That's all it was. I mean, there aren't a lot of 52-year-olds that joined, the porn world that late, but even so, it is all about branding and being able, just like you said, to know what you're doing. And I really say that it's that for me more so than how I look. I'm not like some knockout, I'm not ugly, but I'm not like some crazy gorgeous person. That's why it's harder for these younger girls. There are so many of them, and there aren't a lot of me.
So I've been doing. I just reread a book called Dean and Me. It's by Jerry Lewis.
Okay.
And there's this thing that they talk about in there, and there's a lot of Lucille Ball stuff right now happening.
Nice.
Right, there's a lot of movies and documentaries and things like that. And so, at that period of time in Hollywood and coming out of vaudeville and movies becoming things, and they're at that cusp when there's movies and then there's talkies and everything's changing, and they understood then the thing that we're trying to avoid now, which was like, if you pick a label and you rock with that label, you can just be more successful.
Yeah.
And I know we live in this world where it's like that. We don't want to do that. We want to like de-label and de-characterize and de-specify. But picking something and marketing directly to that, yes, you can find like an audience for that thing, right? And that's a mistake I've made in comedy. It's like I can't sum up my comedy in a sentence or a few words, right? Like yours is nailed. You decided your Milf, and your I don't know what are your specific like marketing labels that you're hitting?
Yeah, so I am your friend's mom, 52, the internet's favorite redhead stepmom, Milf, and cougar and teacher. Yeah, so I've got a little bit of everything. Yeah.
So easy.
Yeah.
And then you can make sure you show up in all those searches, right?
Yeah.
That's right. That's brilliant. That's fantastic.
Thanks.
So here's the thing I did on the internet when I got trolled yesterday. I went on someone who's a comedian who is only now, after the Trump organization, posting racist stuff. It's not even comedy content. It's just like a video of a black person, and then he's like calling them a thief. I'm like skimming it to its worst, but that's pretty much what's happening. And so I commented on there, and I was like, I'll die of shock if you ever pass judgment on a white person.
Yeah.
And we're co-Italians. And so as Italians, we can easily make fun of regular white people. We think that we're a different group. But so I posted that on there, and then his fans came for me. And so somebody was like, they were going on all of my comedy videos and posting how they weren't funny. And I decided that my revenge was that I was going to go on his page. And then since it was open, I found his wife, I found his daughter, I found his son, and I found his mom, and I followed all of them.
Wonderful.
So in a couple days, his wife is going to get around to checking her regular person Instagram. She's going to be like, who is Dan Frigolette? And he's going to be like, I have no idea. And her response is going to be, well, your daughter, your son, and your mother are following him on Instagram. So I think that's a good revenge.
I do too. I like that.
I don't know how to do that to your PTA lady.
Yeah. It's
But
sickening. Yeah. I don't know either. I think just them knowing that um, some of their husbands really are in my DMs
100%.
and they don't know who they are, but they know I know. So
Yeah.
that
Oh,
kind of
you
feels good.
specifically know. Oh, I thought you meant theoretically. No, you really know.
Yes. And
I
not
saw a
a,
meme
yeah.
today that was I saw a meme today that was I don't have time to fight. I'm just gonna fuck your husband and go on with my day.
Yeah. Yep. Yeah. Yeah, and I do post because they apparently they're watching my porn, the Karens, which is really creepy to me that they're
Yeah.
watching it. But whatever,
To
especially
watch it to watch it with hate in your heart, I think is hilarious.
isn't it? And
Actually.
so now, since I know they're following me, I posted something on Instagram the other day, and my quote, my caption under it was, "This goes out to all the Karens in my neighborhood, and of course also to your husbands." So I really enjoy that kind
Amazing.
of stuff, and
Amazing.
but they're evil. You know, they're like a second. They're a separate kind of evil that I can pull it out of my back pocket. I too am Italian. My dad is an OG, from Brooklyn from many, many years ago. My dad's almost 80 now. And so I do have that in me,
Yeah.
but I'm really trying to help them. They really don't
Yeah.
want to go there. So,
There's something about being Italian where we have like a secondary level of pettiness that I think not everybody gets to have. Like
yes.
literally every time somebody like does anything tiny to me, like even as little as like not like wishing me happy birthday, in my head, some old Italian man is in there being like, "You're cut off. You're
Yeah.
out of my will." And
Yep.
I don't have a will.
Yeah.
I don't have anybody. I don't have
I
anything
know
to
what you
give
mean.
you.
Yeah.
But
I'm the
that's
same way. Yeah. I
you're
remember it
cut
all.
off.
Hmm.
That's so
Yeah, in
funny.
fact, it was funny. So my dad's almost 80, and just recently I was over there and I had mentioned like, yeah, I'm getting together with my sorority sisters from college, and he's like, "Will Susan be there?" Now I graduated, how long ago was it? 30 years ago. And he's like, "Will she be there?" I'm like, "Susan. Yeah, Susan will be there." I hate her. I'm like, how
Oh,
do you
that's why
hate
you brought it
her?
up.
Like that, what did she do? And he's like, "Don't you remember that one time?" And I'm like, "Oh my God, Dad, like really?" And
Right.
yeah, I was like, "Are you kidding me?" Like,
Off out
yeah,
of my life forever.
yeah,
What
yeah.
happened?
He remembers. It wasn't even
Yeah.
anything. I don't even remember what it was, but I just thought, wow, he has so much going on. He's holding on
Yeah.
to.
Right. Well, for Italians, it can be something as easy as like a thing that they thought was like outside manners, some kind of some like slight that was not directed at anybody. Well, they didn't
Yes.
say hi to me when they walked in the house. It's
Hmm.
incredible.
Yes,
What we're capable the amount of pettiness we're capable of
I
as a
agree.
group.
Yeah,
And
I
what's funny
agree.
is I don't think Italians would disagree with that at all.
No, no, no. I agree.
I don't know why we do that. So yeah, so this lady, I hope this lady thing resolves itself because that is a level of that's just something you don't need to hold on to
No,
because
no.
she's doing enough of that on her own. And I hate that we're in a place where all we want to do is be divisive with like our neighbors, like
Yeah.
as close as we can to hating somebody who lives nearby. We're trying to do.
Yes, it's sickening, and that's the interesting thing. I was talking with my teenager, and I thought I said something like, of all the people, I knew I would eventually get doxxed, and but I never thought it would be another mom in my community doing it. I thought it would be, some dumb kid, and
Interesting.
I really didn't expect it to be a mom in my community, but she made the rules, and I'm still toying with the idea of filing charges because
Yeah.
I can't let that happen. And I let one person do it, and then what? So
Right.
I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah. Well,
We'll
I
see.
like the idea that you shut her down. I mean, it's tough. It's a closed-minded person and idea, and you do. I mean, you have to protect your thing. But I don't know. It's interesting to me now that I'm in therapy. Like, I feel like the only people that would like come for me are people that like are me and like relate to like so it's like her insecurities are all the things that are driving this thing. So of course,
Yes.
it's a mom in the community. Like, it makes the most sense for me. Like somebody
Yeah.
who watches your stuff and who was a kid, they don't have a problem, and they don't want to
No.
destroy that either.
No, they don't. And I'm in therapy too. I've been with my therapist for 30 years now. I still can't believe I'm
30
this fucked up.
years?
Yeah, woo!
30 years
Yeah, 30
is
years.
a place of solutions. I've been
Yeah.
in like 1 year, and 1 year is just a place of like more problems. So like, I know now that I'm the problem, and I've dropped all the things that I built that were negative to protect myself, but now I'm just out there hurting myself and others because I have no protection, and I'm still doing the things. It's
Yeah.
the worst place.
Yeah, no, I know what you mean. I know, I get it. Yeah. And before I got into porn and before I started my OnlyFans, I talked in depth with my therapist who knows my children
About
too. And
about whether or not you're gonna do it.
whether or not I was going to do it, how to approach it with my children. And my therapist used to be the director of Children, Youth, and Family in Western Pennsylvania. He actually created the programs, and I trust him implicitly. He's like the man. I just adore him. And I said, here's what I'm thinking. What do you think? And I want to go to the teenager. And do you think that's crazy? And he said, no, absolutely not. And he said, you won't know. And I know you can't live with yourself if it's something that will affect them. And he said, most parents wouldn't do that. And, I've gotten feedback from non-fans that are like, I can't believe you let your child make that decision. And I said, you're missing it. My child didn't make any decision. I needed to know how my child felt about it before I was okay with doing it. And when my kid was like, so what? Like, get the bag. Who cares what people think? I was like it sent chills through my spine. Even today, when I mentioned that statement that my kid made, because I spent the whole first half of my life caring what everybody thought.
Right.
Like, I really did. And this came out of nowhere. People who know me, I lost a lot of acquaintances and friends because they're like, oh, I can't believe she's doing that. How,
Right.
Oh my gosh. And I'm like, yeah, I know. Me either. But here we are. So, like, get with the program or move the fuck on. So.
What do you think somebody who cuts you out of their life because of what you're doing and it doesn't affect them, what do you think they're thinking? Like, what do they think the justification is or the basis to, like, disconnect from you? Like, how are you harming them? What do you think their thought process
I
is?
really don't know because I can't understand it. But I'm also of the feeling, I have a handful of friends who we've all got our thing. We've all got something fucked up about us. I really believe that. And we can choose to love people where they're at. And, I have one friend, she lies all the time about things, not important things, but I love her. She's got my back. I've known her my whole life and she's wonderful. But there are certain things everybody, I don't want to say they serve a purpose, but I'm very well aware of what to say and not say to certain people. And I love her in spite of that. And that's how I feel about people that I love unconditionally, that I'm not going to love every decision anyone makes, but it's not for me to approve or not approve. And that's what I don't understand. It's none of your business what I do for a living. And, it's weird. I don't understand, but it is what it is. And they made the rules. And so now they have to lay in their bed. I had one girl, how about this last week? I had been friends with her for 20 years. She just stopped talking to me. She was gossiping about me. And so when I find out these things, I just quietly go into like Facebook and all my socials and I just delete them or block them. And I just don't talk to them anymore.
Yeah.
And she wasn't calling me anyway, but out of the blue, she called me last week, left me a voicemail, and it was like, hey, so I heard from so-and-so, and they said that you're upset with me about something I said, and I just really wanted to apologize to you. I'm not sure what I did, but I wanted to apologize. And I know this sounds crazy, but I'm really in a jam, and you're probably the only person who could help me with that. Would you? And then she started to cry, said, will you please call me back? And I sat there and I went
On the voicemail.
And I thought,
Wait, walk me through what your thought process is here. What do you think?
Yeah.
Are you sullied, number one, that like the only reason she's calling and apologizing is because she needs something? Are you sullied that at this moment in time, are you sullied that she's apologizing for a thing that she doesn't know what it is, even though we both know what it is? Or like, how do you feel about an apology that someone's giving that? So I'm finally in the belief that if you give the apology, that is actually a huge step, because plenty of people know that they did something wrong and then they won't apologize. People that are apologizing and pretending they don't know what they did wrong, I think that's a baby step.
That's not an apology.
So how are you feeling when you get this voicemail?
Yeah, so I got the voicemail, and I talked to one of my girlfriends about it. I talked to my therapist, and I said, I'm not calling her back at all. She has not
Ever.
No, not as of right now. No, I'm not doing
Yeah.
it, because she, for a year, has ignored me. And my mother is dying of cancer. She hasn't reached out to me even one time. Thank you about that. But now she needs me, and she's going to throw in an apology, even though she doesn't know what it's for. And if I do decide to talk with her, I will say something like, listen, we have unfinished business. I want to talk about this apology first. And I'm really shocked that you would ask me for something when you're apologizing. So maybe we could talk about that first.
What do you think it is?
Who knows? Money? I don't know. Maybe money. I don't know. I don't give anyone money anyway, but I don't know. Advice, money.
So you get that article, says you're 0.1% on OnlyFans. Do people come to you and all of a sudden they're like, "Hey, can I borrow $2,000?"
No, they don't. No one's asked me for money.
Okay.
Yeah, no one's asked me for money. But
good.
I don't know what she wanted. Maybe, a lot of times people come to me for like software kind of things. They need help. I don't even know, and I don't care enough because, I have room in my life for the people that really care. I have room for the people that love me like I love them. And I'm just not interested in having shallow acquaintances anymore. Life's too short, and my life is too full. And she fucked up. And if she wants to apologize,
she fucked up.
Yeah, come back and apologize. Like, I need her to go, I can't believe I apologized and then asked you for something in the same sentence. Because I know she knows better. She's a smart girl. And she'll figure it out. Yeah. No thanks.
Well, maybe she listens to my podcast.
Yeah. Hi, Tracy.
Hilarious.
That's really her name.
I don't
too.
know. I'm in a weird place with apologies of I used to be like, oh, you said I'm sorry, but, or you apologize for not. But then the more I realize, when you're in therapy, you realize that you're picking people that are exhibiting things that you've experienced, and you know where it's coming from. And so you isolate those things, and then eventually you go, okay, well, you're actually like the baby step of apologizing, is sometimes a good starting position.
Yeah,
but it's hard. So
I agree with you.
We really have we have these rules in our head about the way an apology needs to go down for it to be genuine.
Yeah, you're right.
I think we need to pull back on that a little bit.
I agree with you that the two punch, the I'm sorry, but I don't know what I did, and can I have something? Right. That's not an apology to me. That's
really three.
Yeah.
Because for most people, I'm sorry, but is enough to go, never mind, I'm not even. And then I'm sorry, but, and then also, can you help me? And then the fourth, manipulative move where she's crying in the middle of it.
Yeah. And not saying anything about my mother, who she knows is sick, and she hasn't called me for over a year, and she's been gossiping about me. So there's just a whole bunch there. I've been a doormat a bunch in my life, and I've let people take advantage of me. So I really have to look at what is the value of this person in my life. Do I want them there in my life? And if I never see her again, am I okay with it? And today I am okay with that, because that bullshit she came at me with a year later, it isn't cutting it. I have too much going on. But I do hear what you're saying, and I agree with you. I just don't think this is that. I really don't.
Yeah. Well, these 3 years, but we're really highlight who are the people that you can rely on.
Yep.
Because you're not going through something tough, but you're putting yourself in a position of judgment and other light, and so the people that can't find a way to acceptance about things that don't affect them.
Yes.
Those are really. So then, on that note, has it affected family relationships?
No. No, it hasn't. Yeah. No, I mean, I really am tied up. My mom really is very sick. And so what I do for a living, like, it's just not a thing. It's more,
Right.
I'm an only child and I'm in charge of her care. My dad's an 80-year-old Dago who's been with my mom since she was 15. And so he's
Yeah.
kind of debilitated with like emotional pain. It's the one thing he can't do to fix, he can't fix her. He can't protect her from this one thing his whole
Right.
life. And
Right.
so now I'm in charge, and I was always like the family fuck up. And now I'm like, holy shit, who put me in charge? So now I'm in charge of
Interesting.
that. And I've had some other things happen. And, it's really been a rough like 18 months for me for a variety of things. I've
Yeah.
truly never been under this amount of pressure and stress in my life. So I just really need to surround myself with people who love me for me and aren't judging me and that know who I am and why I do what I do.
Yeah. I said something that I really felt that was like a huge life goal recently. And anybody who was like started telling me the reasons why I couldn't accomplish that, I was like, "Oh, you're not on Team Dan."
No,
And that's not good enough.
that's a
Like I said something
problem.
crazy, and then my friends were like, "I could see you doing that." And that's it. That's all you need. That's all you need in your life is those people.
That's
I could
right.
see that for you.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah,
That's important.
it is. Yeah.
So you mark it on the age. You talk about the age. This is a thing that's been recurring in the last, and I think it's just my own mortality and my own getting close to 40 that I think about it more. But it really is a trend in the industry where there was a point at some point in the past where once you got to a certain age, you got to go. Like that was the vibe, and
Yeah.
not that it was necessarily true. And
Yeah.
I think at times when there was toxic masculinity in charge, that really was a conversation. You got to go.
Yeah.
But then it was like an unwritten thing. You're 3 years in. How long do you think that you can that you want to first? That how long do you think you want to be doing what you're doing?
Yeah, so it was interesting when I started. I really didn't believe that there was this huge market for older women, the cougars, the MILFs. And, a friend showed me some demographics, and then I did my own research, and I was like, holy shit, like MILFs and cougars and teachers are higher in the list of things that are searched on porn sites and Google than than like everything. Like it's crazy how popular they are. And I still didn't believe it until I had launched my page. And then 6 weeks later, I was like, holy shit, this is nuts. But I'm kind of going in, I'm still doing my OnlyFans. I'm still doing, I do a lot of creator kind of stuff, and I'm kind of branching out into the non porny space as well. And I'm enjoying that where I just get to be, because I'm really a big goof and I'm like
Yeah.
a boomer goof kind of. And so I'm kind of branching out in that direction. And I don't know how long my body will hold out with the porn stuff, but
Well, so I want to. I have a couple little flutters in there. So number one, I think you could totally go any other route, right? Because I think that's what we've learned is that because the value, or I guess lack of value, having a naked photo of you running around the internet, like it used to be that like if you have naked photos you couldn't do the things, right? And
yeah,
now that doesn't exist, you can take this following into any other aspect of being a personality and a
yeah,
content creator. Number two, I think my idea that like people were being kicked out at some point is what drives the need,
yes,
right, and the niche,
yep,
because it's something that's not really out there, and it was a thing that we were like, I find it very upsetting that like as I get older, I don't think I'm less sexy. I'm just as horny, and I want to be with people my age,
yeah,
and there's not a lot of me finding those
yeah,
people on the internet, and
yeah,
that's frustrating, and I think that's the driving force of that whole notion.
yeah.
I forgot what my third flutter was, but what other things do you attribute um, the success of that category for you?
There are fewer people in the category, and there's a happy medium, and whether regardless of your age, you really have to understand how to engage an audience across social media. I do the best that I can, because my Twitter following is pretty big. I lost my big TikTok, but I'm back. I have like 160,000 again on my
They
new
pulled your
one.
TikTok as well?
Oh yeah, I've lost like 8 TikToks.
What was the infraction on TikTok?
I was wearing a turtleneck and corduroy pants and sitting in a bathtub. They just hate.
I don't know. What did they say?
They hate porn stars. They don't tell you anything. Boom, gone. Page is gone.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you
Yeah,
try to
so
get
this
it back.
is what's frustrating, and this is another recurring theme where it's like we're relying on these social media platforms for so much, and they fail us so often. And then now we're relying on OnlyFans, and they've shown us some interesting things
Yes.
about whether or not they're going to be loyal, and that is so frustrating. And I don't have a good solution, but an easy solution would be that isn't easy is to have this industry control those things.
Yeah.
So that they don't pass judgment, take away, make up weird rules.
Yeah, it would
right.
be
Like I think we
nice.
all understand that Twitter is where you can see genitals, and so if we want to see genitals on social media, we go to Twitter.
Yeah.
And so we need another genitals social media.
Genital
platform.
friendly. Yeah.
Right. JF.
Yeah.
GF. Sorry, I'm an idiot. And then I'm also starting to realize there are way more OnlyFans rules than I thought. And we go into those a lot in other podcasts. We don't need to go into them, but they shock me, the amount of little ticky tacky kind of things where it's like, well,
Yeah.
you're standing here, so you can't do that.
Yeah, I did a video. Cherie DeVille and I did a role play video called Hollywood Escort, and we shot a video where we were in a hotel room and we were bringing an escort back for our boyfriend, and you can't write the word escort on OnlyFans, so we have to do like
Crazy.
a 0, and then
Crazy.
panty stuffing, which a lot of my fans like, which I didn't even know. I'm pretty vanilla when it comes to a lot of the fetishes, but they're like, "Do you have any panty stuffing videos?" And I'm like,
Well, explain to me what panty stuffing is.
yeah, I didn't know either. I've had to Google a lot of shit.
Sure.
It's where you take off your panties and you put them in your vagina and stir them around in there, and then you slowly pull them out, and then you smell them, put them in your mouth.
Why is that a problem?
Right. Well, I guess one of the rules on OnlyFans is you can't put anything in your body that isn't supposed to go in your body. Like, how do you get it? Like, who says what's supposed to go in there?
I don't even know. Right. I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
I don't even know what that means. I just ate a bunch of stuff that shouldn't go in my body,
Yeah,
technically.
story of my
and those
life.
companies are making a lot of money, so I don't even know what that means.
Yeah.
What are you doing? I don't want to go negative, but what are you doing wrong? What could you be doing better in this thing that you're focusing on?
Do you mean in porn world?
Yeah. Yeah.
Oh gosh, I'm so critical on myself. So, I always think I could be marketing better, finding the new, latest, and greatest way to market. I do the best I can to engage with my fans on every platform, and it is exhausting. That's why I was,
Sure,
in the messages, I try to respond to every comment, and I think that's necessary because I do care. I do care about my audience. I do care about the fans. I could probably give myself a little more slack. I haven't had a day off since March 30th of 2020, and I need a break.
You track that.
What's that?
You track that for yourself.
Yeah, I didn't even have to. I just know
March
I
30th.
havened. Yeah, that was the day I started, and I haven't had a day off since. Yeah, literally not a day off.
Yeah, one of the trending audios on TikTok is this one about like I hated having a 9 to 5, so I started my own business, and now I work 24/7.
Yeah. Yeah, and they get mad sometimes. I'm like, I have to sleep. Leave me alone.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
I could be more organized with that, I suppose.
We've said and done a lot. This is a very dense episode. We're at a good mark for, I think, when people like to hear what's going on. I wanted to ask you briefly about The Graduate, which seems to be the source material for your name.
Yeah.
Was this like an impactful film for you? It's like a cultural phenomenon.
Yep.
And it's like the quickest, easiest way for people to understand. Older woman, young man.
Yeah.
Where does it come from for you, and how deep does it go?
It goes pretty deep. My high school boyfriend and I was with him for 10 years into college. We used to watch old movies together. You know, we watched Grace Kelly, and one night we watched The Graduate. And I remember at 17 years old thinking to myself, she's a badass. Like, I really clung, like, I was clinging onto her, like, I need to be a badass like her
Yeah.
when I grow up.
This is what, late 70s, right?
This was 1987.
87. It was later than I thought.
Yeah,
Okay.
that was 17 in 87.
And there was like no like boss bitch characters at the time.
No.
And really for a long time after that, there was like crazy bitch might cut your penis off characters, but there wasn't like boss bitch characters.
No, Stifler's mom and Stacy's mom. That was it after that. But I just remember.
And arguably Stifler's mom is not really like a very powerful character. She's just sort of used as this sexualized thing.
Yeah.
Right?
Yes, exactly. So I am Bancroft. I was like, she's a badass. And when I was trying to come up with my name, or not trying to come up with it, but somebody said, what are you thinking about for your stage name? And I sat for a minute. And normally I brainstorm. I've got charts out and everything. And I just sat there and I went, Mrs. Robinson. And that was it. Yeah.
And it's so, and again, like it's brilliant. It's so fast.
Yeah.
You know? It's so fast from a marketing perspective. The original title of this podcast was Porn Stars Are People. And for me, that was like same thing. It's like, boom, you know what it's about, right?
Yeah.
And unfortunately, those words strung together for some reason are the opposite of clickbait. They're like target bait and they're kryptonite bait for the internet.
Yeah.
But sometimes it's just the smartest, and that's also what was fun about that period of time was before we were saying all the words, all the dirty words explicitly, we knew ways to say them without saying them.
Yes.
And they're just like ingrained, and just to that Mrs. Robinson, it just nails it right in. And by the way, if anybody's not seen this movie, The Graduate, I think it's a good time to go find out where that is on streaming platforms.
And I did remake it too. So if you do want to come to my OnlyFans, you can go to mrsrobinson.fans and request graduation gift. And it is me reenacting in a boy-girl sex tape, the Mrs. Robinson movie. So.
Well, let's get that thing sold.
Yeah.
Okay, so quick PSA, please pay for your porn. Please check out all the platforms where people are doing the things. If you're not paying for the stuff that you're jerking off to, chances are like 100% that the person that you're jerking off to is not making money off of that thing. So please keep your favorite people in this business. I've seen so many of my favorite porn stars from when I was 20 to 35 have to leave because it doesn't seem like we're making a living. So let's keep these people making a living.
Thank you.
And let's stay sex positive. Let's not be in a place where you're jerking off at 3 p.m. and then judging somebody at 5 p.m. I think that's a weird idea. Let's look at our own hypocrisies. I think we're all full of shit, and I think we need to look in the mirror a little bit.
Oh, I love that.
How do we find you? How do we follow you? I cannot put the OnlyFans stuff in the comments anymore because it gets flagged on YouTube.
Okay.
So that's a shame. So please, I'm finding little ways to work around it, but please tell us where to find you, where to follow you, how to pay for your stuff.
Yeah. So I do, if you come to my Instagram right now, it's called Let Mrs. R Live because they keep taking my Instagram down, but you can come to my Twitter, which is Mrs. Robinson XO. All of my links are there. But if you want to come straight to my OnlyFans, which I know you do, come to mrsrobinson.fans, mention that you saw me on Dan's podcast, and I will send you a little freebie.
All right, we love that. We drop a new episode every Sunday. This one's live to the moment. It's actually not Sunday, it's Monday. It's Monday morning, midnight. This one's gonna be live. This one's literally coming out this week. Wherever you see podcasts, listen to podcasts, we're on the other thing. If you're on Apple, we're on Google and all the other stuff. We're on Android. We have some content today on YouTube. Please check it out there. The Porn Stars Are People and the Sexy People podcast YouTubes are in peril because of some of the comment stuff with the OnlyFans. So you can go to youtube.com/Dan Frigolette to see this stuff. Thank you so much to my guest for being here.
Dan, thank you for having me. I really appreciate it. And it meant a lot to me that we were able to spend this time together. So thank you. And thank you for what you bring to the podcast world.
Well, thank you.
You're
I
welcome.
appreciate that very much. So much that I'm probably blushing and I don't know how to take compliments. You're an incredible guest. I'd love to interview you again. I feel like we've only scratched the surface on the depth of your knowledge and understanding of things. So thank you.
Thank you. Bye, guys.